So if you don't understand your true supplier lead times, you can't properly size your safety stock. And if you can't do that, you either tie up unnecessary cash or create stockouts. And so learning this KPI is how you can regain control of working capital instead of reacting to it. And so most people take an average, but what I want to show you is how to take a median. And so we have this data set here that we're going to create this heat map from. And so this heat map is going to highlight anything that is more than the target cell. And so I want to show you how to create that. If you've watched any of my other videos on the inventory, chapter or, in the book, a lot of the sections look like this. They're just slicing different things and giving different insights. And so here in this data set, and if you want this data set, there's a link to download it, but it's nothing you haven't really seen before. It's just on, the simple version of this is just what did you need? When did you order it? When did you get it? And then everything else, for what branch, who bought it, what channel did you buy it through, who was your supplier, the SKU, just other sort of metadata. But the gist of it is, when did you order it? When did you receive it? And then who is your supplier? If you have those three columns, you can calculate everything for this KPI. And so the only two formulas we have to do on this is going to be the end of the month of when you put in the order, and then also the actual number of days it took to receive it, not the promised number of days, but the actual date you received it. And so to do the end of the month is super simple. It's just EOMONTH equals end of the month, and then go and highlight the order date, comma, and then 0, because the 0 is going to give you the end of that month. July 2nd, 25, it's going to give you July 31st. If you were to, instead of 0, if you were to do 1, it would give you August 31st. If you were to do 2, it'd give you September 30th, so on and so forth. Yeah, let me just show you the formatting is off a bit. Okay, and then the next thing is just actual lead time in days. So equals, the lead time is going to be the delivery date minus the order, like the receipt date. So the receipt date minus the order date here. And so you can see all that matches column A, B. So that's how you calculate that. That's how I got this. But you can delete this, and then now you can start to do your analytics to get your insights. And so the first thing we're going to need is we want a unique list of the months. So the month end, the column we just calculated. So we want a unique list of all this. Essentially, remove any duplicates, and we can do that with the unique function. And so equals unique, and then month end, and then you have it here. Just highlight this, and then you can format it as a date. And then I'm just going to copy and then paste as values. Okay, so the next thing we want here is we want the unique list of the suppliers. And so it's the same function, equals unique. But this time what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do it on this sheet. I'm not going to go back because we have a table called table lead time. And so you can type it in the formula. And then to start, you have to use the bracket, the squared bracket. And then from here, we know that we want the supplier. And so here's every supplier. And then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in alphabetical order. You don't have to do this, but it's just easier to, to scan things whenever, they're in alphabetical order. And then finally, we want this across the row here and not in the column. So we're going to transpose that across the row. And so you can see the formula here. And again, I know I go pretty fast, so just pause the video. But I try to keep these fairly short, and it normally come out around 10 minutes because it just takes, it's 4 minutes right now, and we haven't even started, the formulas to get the actual insights. And so this insight is pretty straightforward, but what we want is we want to filter out all of these based on the month end and based on the supplier. So any row that is 731 and the supplier of, say, Carrier, we want to get all those rows. Because the thing is, we want a median and not an average. If you wanted average, you could do an average FS. So average FS, carrier supply for month. But we want a median because it's gonna remove the outliers. If you're not familiar with median versus average, the median is the middle number. So say, for example, you have 1 day, 2 days, and 100 days, right? Or say 1 day, 10 days, and 100 days. So the median is 10, but the average is 111 divided by 3, which is whatever that is, 35 or so, 33, I guess, 34. And so it's going to strip out sort of all the outliers. And so what I'll do is I'll start with the filter function, even though we're going to use the median, but I'm going to filter the actual lead time, comma, where the month end equals, and it's in cell B3 on the other sheet. And then from here, I'm going to multiply. I'm going to multiply that because multiply is the and criteria. A plus sign is the or criteria, but we want and. We want the end of the month of, July 31st and the supplier being trained, or I think it was, I forgot, it was carrier. And then where this equals C2. And I'm going to get an error when I do this. And the reason is because you have to put these in brackets. So I need to put this in the bracket, in parentheses here, and then this, and I think I still might get an error. Yeah, so I have to wrap both of those into a single one here. Does that work? Yeah. So what this is saying is there were essentially 10 different parts ordered from carrier in, July 31st. And now we want the median. We want the middle number of this. And so we can wrap this formula here with the median function and then just close your brackets. And so that's the answer right there. Pretty straightforward, but now we just want to drag this over and drag it down, but you're going to get errors. And the reason is because you see how right here it's on carrier supply, but right here it's on the number 12. So there's no number 12 in the supplier column, right? And so we have to do we have to lock the cells. So right now this is relative references, and we want absolute references at the column and the row level. So it's pretty straightforward to do. All you have to do is wherever you see the column, like the blue, so we want to drag that down, and we do want the months to change. But if we drag it over, we don't want column B to become column C. So just put the $ before the column, and then for the row, put the $ before the row, meaning before the letter for the column and before the number for the row, because rows are measured in numbers, right? You wouldn't say row B, you would say column B, right? You wouldn't say column 2, you would say you wouldn't say row B, right? You would say row 2. Okay, so that's good. And then what we have to do from here is you still can't drag it over because the column headings change because of the table. And the way around that is you just copy and then paste. And then you have everything you need. And the reason why you see 0.5 is because there's an even number. There's an even number of results, meaning the median of 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no middle number, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you take the average of the two middle numbers. So I'll just show you. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you would take the average of these two. So the median of this is 2.5, as to where the average is 2.5 as well. But the median, right? The median is 2. It's the average of the middle numbers. But if this was 1, say 5, 10, 15, you see how it's 7.5, as to where the average is 7.75, right? I mean, we'll say this is 1500, right? The average is super high, but the median doesn't change because it's still the average of these two. And so that's why you're seeing 0.5s. Okay, so the next thing we want to do 2 overall columns, or 1 overall row, 1 overall column. And so the overall column here is just what is your median time by month. And then here is what is your median time by carrier. So you can just copy this and paste it here. But what we're going to do is we're going to strip out this, because right now it's looking at overall. Let me just copy this over because it might be a little bit confusing. If I paste this, it's looking for train parts, but we don't care about train. We just want the month. So all you have to do is just strip out the supplier. I always get the brackets wrong. Is that good? Yep. So yeah, and then now you can double click that down. Good to go. And then the next one is sort of the same concept here, but this time the difference is we want to take out the month. We don't want this blue here. We just want it for carrier supply. So you can just, I'm going to actually delete all of these. Delete that. Okay. Now we can take out this, and then that should work. It's just whenever you use a table. This has all sorts of weird stuff going on. The table like just throws things off just a little bit, although I would always use a table with this stuff. So I'll get there eventually. Yeah. And then you can just copy and paste that over. And then we can carry it out to 1 decimal. Well, okay, so that's the formula. Like that's pretty much the gist of it. The final thing we want to do is we just want to highlight anything that's over a certain number. Like over here, we want to highlight anything that is over 18. And we want to calculate this here. So this is actually going to be super straightforward. We just want the median of the table of the actual lead time dates. So we don't have to, there's no other criteria, which is why we can use the median function. There's no median if function. There's an array formula for that, but the filter function that I showed you is way better. Okay, so say, for example, we have a target of 21 days. So anything here that's above 21, we want to highlight it red. So home, conditional formatting, highlight cells greater than 21. So 3 weeks. You could do 14. You could do 20. I mean, you can pick what you want, but it's dynamic. And so the final thing I want to show you is if you're sharing this with like colleagues or things, or other members of your team, they might not know that it's a changing cell. So we want to tell them it's a changing cell by having the word target. But the problem is it's being stored as text right now, and we don't want that. We need it to be a number value, but have the word target there. So we want 15, and then press Control-1 to bring up the format cell dialog box, and then custom, and then you can do the 0 here, and then you want your quotations, target, colon, space, quotation, and then you have this here. And so yeah, that's essentially how you do this KPI. And so if you have any questions, shoot me an email, questions@databoards.io. If you want this file, there's a link to download it. More than happy to send it to you. Just let me know, hey, can you shoot over the median lead time inventory file? And also, if you need some help structuring your data in a usable format, or if you need some insights into your data, to help calculate all these different KPIs, then just shoot me an email. Or there's also a link to top of my calendar. But if not, that's all I got for this one, and I'll see you in future videos.